It is a beautiful Monday morning, and of course you are still watching Morning Rush. But if you are still at home by now, well, I suppose you don't have to be in a hurry. You don't have school, Ramanti. Oh, you lucky ducks. So you don't have to leave early anymore. But you're still going to be late for work if work starts at 8 o'clock. And I don't think you can use us as an excuse anymore. I think your boss is tired of that. So you need to be getting ready to leave the house. But not before you meet the guest that I have today. An amazing first. Hatatsikwane province. Nasi. Yo. All right. So apparently his parents call him Philip. Philip.
It's true.
Philip.
It's true.
But the entertainment world call him Doctor. I can't not say it this way. Dr. Chaii.
That was perfect.
How did you become Dr. Chaii?
You know, it's funny you mentioned my parents, Candace, but before I started singing, I was a music producer, and I used to produce for a lot of artists, and that was going really well. But when I decided to become an artist, I was like, I can't be an artist called Philip. How can I just say, Philip is on the stage? I was like,
introducing Philip.
Especially when you say it like that. I was like, that's not going to work. So I was like, my mom always wanted me to be a doctor. I was like, I'll just put doctor in the front. And then I watch a lot of Nigerian movies and African movies.
Oh, wow.
And whenever you see something shocking, they go, Chaii! So then I was like, what if it's Dr. Chaii?
Oh, my word.
And then now I'm Dr. Chaii.
Oh, okay. All right, so let's go back to Philip. Before Philip morphed into Dr. Chaii.
Yes.
Was music always a thing for you growing up? Was it something that you're like, this is my path in life?
Yeah, I knew from really early on that music was what I loved. I didn't know if it would be music production or if it would be singing. But when I was in school, I was always in the choirs. Or if we were at church, I'd always be attracted to the singing and the hymns and stuff. When I was in primary school, I'd be in the band. Anything that had to do with music, I'd always be there. And then when I was in high school, one of my friends introduced me to this program to make music with. He was like, this is how you make beats. I was like, what's beats?
But your friend had him scansos. How?
We don't want to find out the answers to these things.
Okay, it's fine.
Just know that he found it somehow.
Introduced you to it.
Skip. Now he introduced me to this thing. And that's when I found, I was like, wow, you can make beats. And I'd watch a lot of other producers growing up, like Timbaland and Dr. Dre and Pharrell, and they'd be making beats. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I think I always thought it was a cool way to express yourself, and there could be nothing. The next thing, you're... So then it started developing, and that's what, instead of going out, a lot of me and my friends would just go home and make beats together or make music together. So that was our hobby.
Right.
So even when it wasn't supposed to be a career path, that was always what I loved, and that's what I would do if no one was paying me to do anything.
So let's look at the professional side of it. Before you then took it professionally, what was your career path of choice?
So funny story. I went to university to study advertising. Marketing and advertising. And so I was there, but I'd be making beats or making music on the side.
Right.
And then I'd go to my lectures. Sean said, I'll make sure your assignments come in on time. And then sometimes they'd be late because
you're busy making beats.
And so it was a balancing act. I didn't know how I'd ever get into music. I just knew I loved it, so I'd always do it on the side. But in another life, I would be a creative advertising agency man helping with campaigns somewhere.
But it kind of makes sense because there is creativity all around. So
That's true.
It's not directly independent of each other. I mean, they work together. And I suppose because you have that background, you also know how to package yourself as an artist, which kind of helps. I mean,
yeah, it does go hand in hand.
Yeah. So professionally, how did you get into music?
So for me, once I graduated, a friend of mine who was already in LA at the time was like, he was doing music already, he was starting to do well. And he said, before you go home to Zimbabwe and do the 9-to-5 advertising thing, why don't you come and try LA? I said, try LA? What do you mean try LA? How do you just try? I had to go to my parents. I said, let me go see what I can do. So I knew this was the time. It was either you do it or you don't.
Yeah.
And so I went home and I said, Mama, Daddy,
this is what I'm thinking.
my friend said I could come to LA and try it out. And as it's coming out of your mouth,
Try it out. Even you don't.
You're
not convinced by
I'm not even convinced right now as I'm telling you the story. And so then I looked at my dad and he just said, you know, if it's your passion, then you must go. I said,
What?
So I didn't ask any questions.
Your Zimbabwean father.
Imagine.
Said, go to LA and try it out.
He did.
Wow.
And so the deal was, you get 3 months and we'll support you for 3 months. If it works after 3 months, you can stay and live your dream. If it doesn't work out,
get back home.
and do your thing. And so fortunately for me, my parents have always been incredibly supportive. And after those 3 months, it worked out. And I started producing for a lot of artists. And the first artist I produced for was a song by Sean Paul and Dua Lipa called No Lie. So that was the song that really established me as a music producer. And after that, you know, it becomes one thing after another. Maybe people are like, who did that song?
And that song is actually playing in my head now. And a lot of people wouldn't actually know that was you. And that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
But that experience of now getting to work with, I mean, you young men, Philip from Zimbabwe, you are producing on tracks and getting nominated for Grammys. Wait, before we get to that, so when you met Jason Derulo, how did he introduce himself?
I know what them scans were. I know what you're thinking.
Did he?
I wish I could say he walked into the room and did the thing you're thinking.
Jason Derulo.
You know, he didn't do it then, but when he started recording, he did it on the song. I said, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. He walked into the booth, he started recording, goes in, he's like, Jason. I was like, Lord, I can't believe this is real. But he did it, and it was an amazing moment for me, because obviously you always hear these things on the songs. I was like, so you really do this? I was like, maybe I should start singing my own name also.
How has working with all these artists, I mean, what has it done for you as a human being, as an individual, before we get to you as a producer?
For me as an individual, I think it's really validated my dreams and my passions and the things that when I was a kid, maybe I was like, I'm not really sure that this is what I want to do. Or maybe I think this is what I love, but I'm not sure. And I think it just really validated that your dreams matter and that your dreams are important, and that even in moments when you don't think you're good enough to do something or don't know how it's going to happen, that God somehow always seems to find a way to make things come together, I think, in the fullness of time. So for me, it's just reminded me that with everything you do, you just have to keep on applying faith and keep making sure you have faith even when you can't really see exactly how is this thing going to happen. And so that's kind of something that I like to carry around with me in my life and in my career.
So do you walk around just saying, hi, I'm Grammy nominated? Do you do that?
I've never said that out loud. Should be weird, Ka.
To who?
Next time I see her, I'll go, hi,
I'm
Grammy nominated. Imagine,
Grammy nominated.
you'd be like, this guy.
Moment. Take me through that moment when you discover that, oh my God, I have been nominated for a Grammy. Something I worked on is up for a Grammy.
I remember the day actually, because I like to sleep a lot. Anyone who knows me knows that I like to sleep. And so I woke up late that day, as I do sometimes, and I was getting texts. I was like, congratulations. I was like, congratulations for what? They're like, you just got nominated for the Grammy. I said, hey! I was like, if this is one of my friends joking, exactly. I thought this would be a bad joke. And then I woke up, I was like, wow, I can't believe this. And it was for a song, the first Grammy nomination I got was for a song that was on the Fast and Furious soundtrack called Hamer by Camila Cabello, J Balvin, and Pitbull. And so now the song is in Spanish, we loved the song, I was so excited. And I think it's just so surreal because you never make songs saying, I'm going to make this so that it gets nominated for a Grammy, because these things are out of your control, you know? It's just in God's hands. And I think that for me in that moment, you just sort of remember, you think about your whole life, your journey.
It flashes back.
When your parents said you can go, your first song, I was just in tears.
Wow.
And I'm a crier anyway, so you can imagine.
You know what? I love it for you. Now, unfortunately, we're almost out of time, so I do need to ask you. You've come home, and then you started this challenge that you did.
Yes.
And then, talk us through it. What on earth were you thinking